Punk rock was a musical movement that set out to disrupt, upset, and rebel against the safe pop music of the early 1970s. Many years before, US World War II personnel were given the freedom to personalize their Harley Davidsons and bomber tails with rebellious art, found it difficult to reorientate themselves back into a safe, conservative landscape. They became 50s outlaws, rebel rousers, the precursor to rock and roll. In a lot of ways, that's why I'm drawn to sword and sorcery fantasy film. It is a genre that should preach rebellion. The characters should be savage in their time and savage in our own. These movies should be offensive. They should be punk rock. If we were to see a Red Sonja movie, it should be just this. It should be cheeky, brash, and bold. It should not strive to be friendly or obedient or correct or whatever it is that sponsor-led commercial media has been pumping out for the last 20 years now that has led to the ruination of this genre. Savage should mean savage. This is something that the 1980s sword and sorcery film did right. It was unapologetic, sexy, R-rated, and coarse. I mentioned before that the barbaric rites of passage was a great escape for young lads growing up, and how lads turned off this genre when it became civil and obedient. There are several things that work in the 1985 Red Sonja film. It's clear why Brigitte Nielsen was chosen to play the Amazon. She is statuesque, beautiful, and competent in the role. What makes her look bad is the script. It is lazy, uninspired, and unfortunately aimed at children. In addition to this, the Ennio Morricone score is not his best. Much of it sounds like dressage music or themes to some kind of antique roadshow. However, not all is bad. The film does boast some impressive sets and production design. I'm not alone in not being the greatest fan of films where the main protagonist takes a back seat and some loud kid takes center stage. Didn't like it when I was a kid, and I don't like it now. Action heroes should not be babysitters. Secondly, Arnold Schwarzenegger is abysmal in Red Sonja. He plays the part of Calidor, a pickup artist style Lothario that just does not suit him. Also miscast is Paul Smith, an actor who is usually the brute in the room, as can be seen in roles previous such as the jailer in Midnight Express or as Bluto in Popeye. But here he is reduced to an apron-wearing submissive. So how would you make the ideal Red Sonja film? Well, get some post-it notes ready because we're going to go through this. Sexy. There is a time to be sexy, and sword and sorcery is that time. I've never understood the argument of why fantasy-type costuming restricts empowerment. If the character is weak, that is the fault of the writer, not the costumer. Brutal. One thing modern films know how to do right is to be violent and bloody. But Hyborian Age type brutality needs to be more than that. One act should be enough to set the character on their way for cold-hearted revenge. Although this is attempted in 85 Sonja, it is too brief and mild. We as the audience need to have our faces rubbed in it. Intelligent. If you are going to show brawn, show brains. Always trick the audience. Have them appreciate Barbarian Age cunning, Barbarian Age strategy, and Barbarian Age mastery. For those of you who crave these components in your sword and sorcery fantasy films, rest assured I've done my best to adhere to this with my film Quest for Steel, which is due for release this week. on January 15, 2021 on Vimeo On Demand. Now before I share a little bit of that, please subscribe, leave a comment and a like, and I'll see you next time.
You could do your part in this event of good fortune. Be the messenger. I am too old for such a journey.
Candidate for the Chosen One, the ruler of the lands.
The fort requires a guard, someone trained and dedicated like yourself.
一个人能死在 Bostaf 之下，是他的荣幸。
I am the warrior, chosen to guard the east access. I am all that separates the lands from a horde invasion. When it comes, I will take down the first wave, and then the second, and the third will butcher me. My reward for being the best.
Well, there's no one left in the city. No one left to murder, rape. So we've little to do this evening. When we win, which we will, we'll murder rape you. Is that better than a quick stab to the gut? I know what I'd prefer.
Tuannya Hadil.
You have precisely 3 moons to present yourself before the sword and heap yourself upon it.
Go. Give the cutter of all cutters the peace it deserves. Allow the grounds to not be intoxicated by the reddish hue of blood.
I have obtained scars far deeper than any laceration.
To wield bronze is to breathe it, understand it, worship it. It's the material our idols are made from. Our statues, our gods. It's forged in fire, the gift from the great god Organ. And it has no respect for your wood, no pity, no mercy. Anyone can pick up a stick, shape it, shave it. But real weapons, they're not plucked from trees.
You dream of steel. Steel and the power it wields. It keeps you asleep. It keeps you awake. You are a slave to it. A lover to it. A demented disciple of it.